Once upon a time, in a village in La Mancha, there lived a man named Alonso Quixano. He was a gentleman who spent his days reading books of chivalry, the tales of knights, damsels in distress, and noble quests filled his mind until, little by little, he lost his sanity. In his madness, he believed himself to be a knight-errant, destined to revive the age of chivalry. Thus, he took up the name Don Quixote de la Mancha. In short, his wits being quite gone, he hit upon the strangest notion that ever madman in this world hit upon, and that was that he fancied it was right and requisite as well, for the support of his own honor as for the service of his country, that he should make a knight-errant of himself, roaming the world over in full armor, and on horseback in quest of adventures. Don Quixote prepared for his noble mission. He found an old suit of armor, patched up a rusty helmet, and renamed his aging horse Rocinante. Every knight needed a lady to inspire his deeds, so Don Quixote chose a peasant girl named Aldonza Lorenzo, whom he called Dulcinea del Toboso. With his preparations complete, he set out to seek adventure. Hear me, thou valiant and virtuous lady, Dulcinea del Toboso, hear me, for thy knight, who is in sore need of thy favor and protection. As Don Quixote rode through the countryside, he soon encountered what he believed to be his first great challenge. He charged at them, full of valor, only to be thrown from his horse when his lance struck one of the giant's arms. But these were no giants, they were windmills. What giants? Said Sancho Panza, Don Quixote's loyal squire. Those that thou seest there, replied his master, with the long arms, and some have them nearly 2 leagues long. Look, your worship, Sancho responded, what we see there are not giants, but windmills, and what seem to be their arms are the sails that, turned by the wind, make the millstone go. But Don Quixote would not listen. It is easy to see, he said, that thou art not versed in the matter of adventures. They are giants. And if thou art afraid, away with thee out of this, and betake thyself to prayer, while I engage them in fierce and unequal combat. Despite his defeat, Don Quixote remained undeterred. He saw each setback as the work of enchanters who sought to test his resolve. His next adventure led him to an inn, which he believed to be a great castle. The innkeeper, amused by Don Quixote's madness, decided to humor him and knighted him in a mock ceremony. Never have I seen a knight-errant who needs so much rest as you do, and so I knight you with all the solemnity required by law, in the name of the Order of Chivalry. As Don Quixote continued his quest, his faithful squire Sancho Panza followed. Despite his master's delusions, Sancho hoped for the promise of wealth and power, for Don Quixote had assured him that he would govern an island one day. Sancho's practical nature often clashed with Don Quixote's idealism, yet a deep bond formed between them. The truth is, your worship, said Sancho, It's so impossible for me to keep from laughing that I'd burst if I didn't. And yet I have heard it said Don Quixote, that the cowl does not make the monk. But it is all one, as I have said so. I would do so too, and therefore be it known that I shall not flinch from any encounter, even though I know it to be against the odds. The Dew encountered many strange adventures. They freed a group of galley slaves, only for the ungrateful men to turn on them. They met dukes and duchesses who, knowing of Don Quixote's madness, played cruel tricks on him. Despite these humiliations, Don Quixote remained steadfast in his belief that he was a knight destined for greatness. I was born by heaven's will in this, our Iron Age, to revive in it the golden age of virtue. I am he whom the fates ordained to bring back the long-lost honor of knighthood. But as time passed, even Sancho began to question whether their adventures were truly as noble as Don Quixote believed. Yet, he remained loyal, often finding himself caught up in the madness of it all. One day, Don Quixote faced a knight who was, in truth, a friend in disguise, hoping to bring Don Quixote back to reality. I am the Knight of the White Moon, and I challenge you to single combat. If I win, you must return home and live a quiet life. If you win, I will declare your Dulcinea the most beautiful woman in the world. Don Quixote accepted the challenge, but he was defeated. True to his word, he returned to his village, his spirit broken. There, in his final days, he regained his sanity and renounced the chivalric fantasies that had driven him. My judgment is now clear, and I see the folly of the books of chivalry that led me astray. I was mad, but now I am sane. Forgive me, dear friends, for the harm I may have caused. Alonso Quixano, once known as Don Quixote de la Mancha, passed away soon after. His death marked the end of a journey filled with dreams, delusions, and a quest for a nobler world. Though his adventures may have been folly, his story reminds us of the power of imagination and the enduring pursuit of ideals, no matter how impossible they may seem. And so, the tale of Don Quixote comes to an end, a story of a man who, in his pursuit of chivalry, became both a fool and a hero. Let us remember him, not for his madness, but for the courage to dream in a world that had forgotten how.